Welcome back to Nerdy's Doll Creations. I'm Chris, and today I'm working on Elle Eedee doll from the Monster High Boo York line. As you can see, this doll was new in package, so here's a pseudo unboxing for you. To be honest, this doll gave me so much trouble. So many false starts and having to redo. I do like the end result, however. I started by removing her from the box, and removing her accessories and then her outfit. To get down to a bare canvas, I cut off her hair, removed her factory paint with pure acetone, and then used my hair dryer to make her head soft so I could remove the stubble that was left. After a quick wash in soapy water and a little bit of sanding of her body, the doll was ready to be customized. I don't show it here because it did not work for me, but I did try airbrushing her black because I need her to be completely black for this particular idea. I also lost the footage of me trying to dye her using Rit Dye More. It worked on the head and part of the body, but not the whole body. So, to begin, I wanted to reroot her, but only in a small triangle on the top of her head. I wanted the rest of her head to be bald. And I wanted this hair to be kind of wiry looking. So I rerooted her using the worst quality of black doll hair I could find. And I also used this orange tinsel by Retro Dolls US to kind of enhance that wire look. Take a few strands of the black and one strand of the tinsel, wrap it over my fingers, and then use my homemade rerooting tool to plug it into her head. Repeating this for the entire triangle you saw it drawn out on her head. I eventually got a full triangle of hair. Once I had that all done, I used my Fabri-Tac glue to glue all the plugs in place, let that dry overnight, and then I'm ready to start on her face. Once it's dry, I put her hair in a ponytail and wrapped it in plastic wrap to protect it from the rest of the customization process. I needed to make her head perfectly smooth, so I decided to give an acrylic polymer monomer set for nail extensions ago. This worked great to fill the holes in her head, but not so great to make her head smooth. As you can see, possibly from the video, that I really struggled with this. I am just putting the acrylic just in the holes, trying to fill those gaps up. I'm trying to keep it away from our actual face because I don't want to ruin all that lovely sculpting that's in it. So once that was dry, I tried to sand it and it didn't work so well. And then as you can see, her face is already black. That's from the Rit Dye More. And because I couldn't get the result I wanted, I went ahead and decided to try flocking her head to give that shaved look. So I made my own flocking powder with acrylic yarn, black acrylic yarn, and then used this Elmer's glue all to attach it to her head. Placed some on with a silicone tool, then sprinkled on some of the flocking powder. This actually worked pretty well. It's not quite the original vision I had, but I actually like the result. It was quite effective. And once it's completely dry, I'll brush it off with a paintbrush and it'll all be ready. So here I had to skip ahead. My footage was actually corrupted. I am using some Bombay inks in red, yellow, and black, and I made orange by mixing the yellow and red together. And I am using the red with a very tiny, tiny brush to go over all the little lines that are sculpted into her face, which I'll also do for her body as well. And this does take some time. I've already done her ears, or ear speakers maybe, with that. And once I had the red done, I went over any spots that weren't quite neat and used the black to clean that mess up. So here it is on the bottom of her head, back of her head. The Bombay inks actually did really, really well to cover any mistakes I made. I actually used the Bombay inks, the black inks, to do her body completely painted. The Rit Dye More did not take, and it started peeling off when I tried to do the white or the red lines on her. Same with the yellow. And then to do her eyes, I actually used some gel for nail art, and then some hollow chrome powder, and then another layer of UV gel polish, clear gel polish. So I wanted her shoes to actually be part of her body, so I'm using some epoxy sculpt here and a sewing pin to make her heels. I take 2 little balls of the epoxy sculpt that are the even size from part A and part B, mix them together really, really well, and then sculpt her heel onto her foot. Put the head of the pin into a little blob of that epoxy sculpt that's been mixed, and then shape it a little bit and smush the head of that pin into it. Once that was hardened completely, I finished sculpting it. So I left this overnight and then I sculpted the rest of the heel. And this actually worked really well. I fixed up her toes, gave her a different toe shape. And here I skipped ahead again. I'm sorry, I lost so much footage when it got corrupted. Here I'm making her swords by using some swords for actually like serving picks to hold sandwiches together. Just cutting off the little handles or the little side handles. I don't need those. And then I will paint the handles with black later, and I'm gonna make her the holder for her swords that that's going on her back out of that same epoxy sculpt, and a couple little pieces of warbler, and that worked pretty well too. And once it was dry, I painted it again with that Bombay ink. I can't say enough about that Bombay ink. It's good stuff. It'll cover most dolls really well. And you'll notice I'm using a little bit of water to help smooth out my epoxy sculpt here. And give this the right shape. I kind of wanted a trapezoid for it. So that when you put the swords into it, it crisscrosses across her back there. And you'll see right here, I realized that maybe just using the epoxy sculpt wasn't gonna work. Eventually I did start over and use the warbler to make a couple of little rounds that fit right around the sword there. You'll see here that I'm trying to add those on, and then use the epoxy sculpt around it, and that actually worked pretty well too. So my idea for this doll was to make an evil android, something that would be like the bad guy in a cyberpunk kind of situation, you know, future dystopian society where androids are starting to take over the world, and androids like to have become evil. And that's where I got this idea for this particular doll. And honestly, I think it kind of fell apart. Her face mold is too sweet to be a bad guy. So instead of a bad guy, she is a medium bad guy. I don't really know, but she actually turned out kind of cute. And I'm sorry, I'm focusing so much on this epoxy sculpt section here. This is just a lot of trial and error. I'd never used this stuff before. I know a lot of doll artists have, and they do a really great job. And I wanted to give it a go. I thought this would be awesome. And it was at the end when I finally got it the way I wanted it to work. But again, it's a massive learning curve for me. So at the end, I know there's a lot of missing footage, and I'm really sorry for that. But here's coming up the final video, the final images. I just put this contraption I made on her back with some glue, and then sculpted around it again. So thanks so much for watching. I know I skipped a lot here, but hopefully you can see that she turned out pretty cool, and I shall endeavor to do better next time. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!